Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I am sharing a personal video today. I'm going to be talking about how I personally adjusted to being a first-time mom, some of my favorite things that I love about being a first-time mom. I'm going to have some resources listed in the description box below, and I'm also going to be talking about things that I personally have never heard any mom talk about. So let's go ahead and jump into this video. If you guys are new here, please subscribe, click that red button below, and give this video a big thumbs up if you guys enjoy this kind of video. I would love to film more videos like this for you, and I would love to get to know you guys in the comment section. So be sure to leave me a comment down below of something that you love about being a mom or that you look forward to about being a mom. Let's go ahead and jump into this video. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say that being a mom looks different for everyone. For every woman, it is going to look different. And whatever that looks like for you, know that you were meant to love your baby, to mother your baby the way you were meant to love them. I personally, when I got pregnant with my daughter Opal, I knew I wanted to be a mom. I knew that it was what I wanted. I knew that I looked forward to that day. I had always dreamt of having my own baby, and I always knew that I would have a girl first, or at least I thought that I would have a girl first. And when I met Opal for the first time, when she was set on my chest, there was this huge, overwhelming reality of, wow, this is a baby. This is a real living life in front of me, and I am her caretaker. I am the one who is going to nourish her however I choose to do that. I am the one who is going to teach her, to love her, to nurture her, to help her throughout life and to grow and to be strong in who she is. But something I want to talk about is just the fact that you have grown your baby, you have carried that baby for 9 months, like I said, and I think one of the most shocking things for me was that I didn't know Opal. I didn't know what she needed right away. I didn't know necessarily what her hunger cues were when we brought her home from the hospital. I didn't know, should I give her a pacifier? Should I not give her a pacifier? I didn't know basically, you know, what kind of butt cream to put on her rash. I didn't know a lot of the basic things that you kind of have to figure out and learn your baby in. And something that I wish that I would have given myself more grace in is the fact that it takes time to establish a relationship with that baby, with that child. I mean, if I put it into perspective of like my husband and I and our relationship, it takes time to really know the person you're married to or in a relationship with. And the same goes for our babies. I mean, being a first-time mom, I had a realistic expectation of knowing my baby right away. I was gonna know her cry. I was gonna be able to whip out everything and make sure that, you know, I could feed her and that she wouldn't ever cry. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is that it takes time to establish a relationship in general. It takes time to know your baby, to really know what they need, and to know their personality. I mean, your baby's born and they instantly have opinions about the way that they're fed, the way that they're changed, the way that they're dressed. You know, do they like being changed? Do they like being fed in this certain position that you decide to breastfeed? And it's just about giving yourself grace. I didn't do this. I didn't do this enough. I didn't really do it at all, to be honest. When Opal was born, something that I felt very overwhelmed by was just the fact that I didn't know her and that I wanted to know her and I wanted to make everything perfect and smooth and peaceful. I would definitely say that adjusting to being a first-time mom, give yourself lots of grace those first 3 months. Know that you will get to know your baby and know that you will begin to recognize their different cries. You know, when are they tired? When are they hungry? When do they need to have their diaper changed? That's pretty obvious, but you know, when do they need to be set down for, you know, just some quiet time? All of these little things that can seem overwhelming. Know that you are going to be able to know your baby, learn your baby, and love your baby the way that they need you to love them. Know that you are capable of doing it, but also know that the realities can seem a little bit heavy at first, and to give yourself grace in the moments where you don't know what to do. Reach out to your mom, reach out to your sister or your grandma or your best friend who has a child. Ask them for support, ask them for their suggestions. Reach out on social media if you prefer that outlet, and ask mamas to help you, because truthfully that's something else I didn't really do enough, was reach out for help and suggestions even. Just kind of learning your baby and getting getting different ideas sometimes helps a lot of mamas. And so if that's something that you could see potentially helping you, be prepared to ask and don't feel bad about it. Be bold and be confident in your ability to mother. Really take in any wisdom that other mamas can offer you. Find a mama that you respect and that you really love and ask her for her advice. Ask her what she did so that it can help you kind of gain some insight. Another thing that I personally believe in and that I didn't do enough, and this is me being transparent, is pray over my mothering. In those newborn days, you are an emotional wreck. Your hormones are just completely off the charts. You're trying to figure out why you're crying or why your baby's crying, and then you're also trying to recover because you're physically in a state that you've never been in before. You don't recognize your body or your ability to make milk. You don't realize who you are in this new state. And this looks differently for everyone. So I'm not saying it's traumatic. I'm just saying no matter who you are, it is a different physical state of being, and it's a different mental state of being. And for me at least, I was very emotionally and mentally taken back by how I felt. And this is another point that I'm gonna touch on right now, is to take your recovery seriously. And what I mean by that is more than just 6 weeks. Like, just 6 weeks, you'll be fine, you'll be healed, you just had a baby, you look great. No, I truly believe that recovery looks different for every mom, and sometimes it looks less than 6 weeks. Sometimes it looks like longer than 6 weeks. And when I say take your recovery seriously, I'm meaning both mentally, emotionally, and physically. Know that you don't have to bounce back because there's this stereotype or standard of having to bounce back. And I hate that word, but it's true. Like this image that you have to fulfill in order to be the best version of a mom. It's just not realistic. And for everyone, it looks different. So I just want to say to take your recovery seriously. Rest, rest, rest. Even if that doesn't look like sleeping, make sure that you are seriously either Netflix and chilling with that baby, or make sure that you are drinking a ton of water. You will hear this from everyone, but seriously, your fluid intake needs to be super high to recover and to make sure that you're producing enough milk for your baby if you choose to breastfeed. Making sure that you are eating. Eat a ton of calories that you need, good calories, good nutrition, so that your body can heal and be replenished, and so that your milk supply can also be very full of good nutrients for baby. I think that making sure that you are not overdoing it and trying to jump back into your previous season of life. Here's where I'm going to touch on that. When I became a mom with Opal, I felt like I was like, okay, great, now I'm not pregnant. Now I can do everything under the sun that I wanted to do when I was pregnant, but I couldn't do. And the reality is that I personally, emotionally and mentally and physically needed to just halt my life. I was just up and at it. I got out of the hospital 23 hours after having Opal. I had an all-natural labor and delivery, and I was out of there in less than 24 hours. I thought, okay, great, now I have this baby, and I'm gonna get back into doing what I was doing before. So I instantly put this pressure on myself of needing to get all of my house chores done, needing to get meals on the table, needing to do XYZ and make sure that I have, you know, things set up to do right away. And I'm talking like I said, 24 hours after having a baby. And to me, looking back, I so feel and realize the importance of slow living, especially after you have a baby, and really being intentional about what you do choose to do and how you go about doing it. Because physically, your body needs rest. You need to rest to heal, to stop bleeding, to really increase your milk supply, to have a good established milk supply, to love that baby. That baby just wants to be on you all day and all night. And being up in the middle of the night, it makes you a little bit crazy mentally sometimes. And so I think that just making sure that you rest, even if it doesn't look like sleep, making sure that you rest is so important. When you're recovering, you might feel stir crazy. You probably will feel stir crazy. You'll probably feel unproductive and unaccomplished. But the truth is is you just birthed life. And not only that, but you are in a season of life that you are transitioning into. So make sure that you give yourself time and grace to really also give yourself mental time and emotional time to adjust to being a mom, to be confident in your mothering, to be calm about your baby crying, to be capable of handling this life that you've been gifted in a way that you can transition in your time. It takes a while for your hormones to really bounce back and to become normal. Some women, it takes until after they're finished breastfeeding, and some women it's, 6 weeks, sometimes it's longer. But the truth is that hormones have a huge influence in how we respond to our new role, if you will, as being a mom. Our patience, our energy, our ability to be intimate with our husbands. And I truly believe that making sure that you do what's best for you is the most important, so that you can be present with your family and with your new season of life and caring for that baby. So do what you need to do to make yourself feel cozy and comfortable and excited about being a mom. It can look like little things, like making sure that you have your favorite coffee creamer in the fridge, or making sure that you have your freezer stocked with meals so that you don't have to be overwhelmed with making dinners. I know that that's something I wish that I would have done, is stocked my freezer with meals, because we didn't have any meals the first couple of weeks we had Opal. And I remember the day after Opal was born, Wyatt went to Costco and bought maybe 2 or 3 prepared, dishes that they have at Costco, and we ended up eating those for the rest of the week. But after that, it was all on me to kind of figure that out, and I wish that I would have been more prepared. So making sure that you do these little things that can make you feel comfortable in your adjustment to being a new mom. Making sure that you're both just in a place of recognizing that slow is good and that recovery is necessary, and that your baby is going to feel like your center of attention. Your marriage and that baby, they kind of fight for that priority of attention. And that's not necessarily a bad thing for a season. And sometimes that can, create distance between you and your spouse. So I think something that helped us adjust as a couple to having this baby is making sure that we created intentional time to talk. So one thing that we did that helped us adjust is when Opal would finally go to bed for the night, and I'm talking as a newborn, so when she would kind of go to sleep at night, we would both take 30 minutes and just talk at the end of our day about how we felt about something, or something new we learned, or whatever, and we connected that way. That way we were still investing in our friendship and our relationship, instead of just feeling like we were bombarded with just baby. And I think that that really helped overall make us a stronger couple, and our relationship and our communication. I feel like I'm a completely open book with Wyatt, and I tell him exactly how I feel. The reality is you need to make sure that you are intentionally talking about you personally, asking your husband about how he's doing. He asks you how you're doing as a person, not just as a parent, and making sure that you're still engaging in those ways that create friendship in your relationship and not just parenthood in your relationship. Identifying how you feel after you have your baby. Your mental health when you are postpartum is so extremely important. Be honest with yourself and how you feel. If you have not heard of baby blues are basically a small phase of 3 days typically is how long it lasts, so I've heard, and that's about how long it lasted for me until I recognized something. But the first 3 days that I was home with Opal, I experienced the baby blues, and basically what that meant for me was that I was really emotional. I was crying at anything and everything. I know this sounds silly, but really it's not. My body was raging with hormones, and I identified that I was feeling really out of my mind and kind of overly emotional, if you will. And something that I didn't realize is that postpartum depression is a very real thing. So I identified with having, the postpartum baby blues for a couple of days. I think it's like 3 to 5 days that I really felt that way. And I just felt like I was crying about everything. I was kind of mad about being a mom. I was kind of a little bit taken back. I was extremely overwhelmed. I was extremely tired. Because I also have a thyroid disease, I was hormonally even more imbalanced because I had those postpartum hormones, but I also had my thyroid hormones completely elevated. We didn't have a whole lot of support the first couple of weeks. So for me, something that I realized was that I was kind of drowning in the baby blues. I ended up having postpartum depression for the first 6 months of Opal's life. I would get in this kind of clouded mental state of just feeling angry, to be honest, or feeling out of my own and just not myself. Like I just didn't feel well mentally. Identify and be honest with yourself with how you are feeling. And that could be in regards to how you feel about being a mom, how you feel about this new season of life, how you feel emotionally, mentally. It's all tied together. And for some women, they don't even blink an eye postpartum. They don't have issues with depression or anxiety. But for me, because I was so physically fragile and emotionally fragile, I fell into this unhealthy state of mind, and it's truly one of the darkest places that I've ever been in my entire life. And I don't say this to scare you, please know that. And I don't say this to say that you're doomed or that this is going to happen to you. I say this because you asked me honestly how to adjust to being a first-time mom, and I want to talk about the realities that I faced and also things that are not talked about normally. And this is one of them. I think as a mom, you want to be strong. You want to make sure that you're pulling your weight and you're adjusting perfectly and you look good and you're back to your postpartum baby weight or whatever. And to me, I'm just saying to you, figure out how you feel internally, emotionally, and physically. Make those your priorities before you focus on your body, because truthfully, your body will heal. It will, and it will look more normal. It may not go back to being exactly how it was before you had your baby, but it will heal. You will be amazed a year from when you have your baby what your body looks like. If you choose to nourish it well and treat it with kindness and treat it with love, you will be amazed at how it looks. And do not be ashamed if you feel sad, if you feel angry, if you feel anxious, if you feel hurt, if you feel upset by how you look physically. Don't be afraid to identify those feelings and to recognize them as an opportunity for you to grow through them. The first thing that we fall into is the lie that we are not capable of being a mom or of being a good person or whatever. And I just want to say that you are going to be a good mom, that if you choose to work on yourself emotionally and mentally, you will be a good mom. And make sure that you identify those things when you can, so that you can really be honest with yourself and how you feel. Be honest with your husband. Open up to your husband about how you feel. Make sure that he's aware of how you're doing mentally, so that he can support you, so that he can suggest hard things like maybe getting counseling or seeing your doctor to take another step forward in a direction to give you some advice and guidance. Make sure that you are confiding in someone who loves you, you trust. Also make sure that you know that you will get better, because you will, no matter what that looks like. If this is something that you face in your postpartum journey or in your mothering, know that you will get through it. I got through it and it was friggin' hard. I'm so grateful that I had my husband and that I was honest with myself and that I worked through it and that I really was disciplined about how I felt. The reality is that you have emerged from your season of just you and your husband or just you and your partner, and now you're in a new season of pregnancy, and then you're in a season of parenting. And the parenting season, like I said, it looks differently for everyone, but here's what I'm going to say to that. Be gracious with your expectations. Actually, don't have expectations for what you're going to be able to do or how soon you're going to be able to do it. I think that it's really important to make sure that your commitments are on the lower side and that you have your schedule cleared, your mind cleared of expectations, so that you can really, really embrace that season of transition, and to really connect with your husband to talk about this before you give birth to your baby, just before you have your baby. Make sure that you guys are on the same page of your expectations and your commitments and your schedules. Your schedules will be thrown out the window. I'm just gonna tell you straight up right now, because having a newborn, they are different every day. They don't have a sleep schedule, they don't have an eating schedule yet. They're figuring out how to keep their eyes open, when to be awake, when to be asleep. They're figuring out day from night and night from day, and you are learning with them how to best help them create a schedule. And so being realistic with your expectations in the newborn phase, 0 to 3 months, sometimes 0 to 4 months, is super, super important to your transition and to your ability to transition well, is nutrition. If you choose to breastfeed, and even if you don't, but especially if you choose to breastfeed, make sure you are taking in 2 times the amount of calories that you normally would. Because seriously, in order to keep your milk supply up and your body fueled and your baby full, you have to make sure that you are nutritionally filling yourself with good foods, good vitamins. You should still be taking either a postnatal vitamin or a prenatal vitamin even after you're pregnant and while you're breastfeeding and recovering. Another thing I would highly, I cannot even say this enough, recommend is taking a good probiotic. I will have the one that I take linked down below in the description box for you guys. But seriously, it will help your baby through your breast milk. It will help you with some downstairs stuff, and also just your tummy and how you feel postpartum. It will seriously change your life. For vitamin D is at a good level, super, super important to your mental health, super important to your immunity and your baby's immunity. Making sure that your baby takes a probiotic when they are of age to do that is also super important and will help their digestive system adjust to the milk drinking and their body developing. Also looking into gripe water for your baby. Sometimes babies have a lot of indigestion the first couple of weeks and months, depending on how developed their digestive system is. I just want to say that breastfeeding is sacrificial. It's kind of a lifestyle shift and seasonal shift in itself, because you are physically being depended on after you're pregnant, and it's kind of this transition of your baby needs to eat every 30 minutes to 2 hours to 3 hours when they're a newborn, and you have to be ready and available for them. It does not matter what you're doing, that baby needs to eat, and you have to be ready to pump or to nurse or to feed that baby. So I think creating this mentality of, especially those first 4 months, of not allowing yourself to get discouraged. If breastfeeding ends up being hard and you need support, get that support. If you are thinking, I just can't do this, I would just challenge you and recommend that you see a lactation consultant. I saw a lactation consultant twice with Opal, both before she was 6 months old, and it helped us tremendously. She was so helpful in advising me different positions to nurse in. It was helpful to know how much weight Opal was gaining after she ate, how many ounces she was getting. And there's no perfect way to do this. There's no way to really physically prepare yourself for the transition to breastfeeding. In my opinion, aside from taking a breastfeeding class, I would suggest that if you are planning to breastfeed and you want education on how to do it and be successful in it, definitely take a breastfeeding class before you have your baby, so that you have a basic understanding of what that looks like, both visually and physically, what it'll look like, how it'll feel. Make sure that you have the supplies that you need to breastfeed. I will have some of my absolute favorite things linked down below in the description box that helped me a bajillion times. I'm gonna have the rest of my suggestions linked down below, otherwise this video will be super long. It's already gonna be super long. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was encouraging. Please know that I didn't cover all of what I wanted to cover. There's a lot of things that I could have expanded on and gone into deeper conversations about, but this is a surface level of what I personally take away from being a first-time mom. Well, thank you for the video request to film this video over on my Instagram. If you guys don't follow me there, be sure to follow me there because I share a lot of this kind of stuff every day of my life over there. I really love you guys and appreciate you guys so much, and I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you guys are pregnant or if you guys have your first baby, what are some things that help you? What are you looking forward to most about becoming a mom? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to chat with you guys there, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.